What's up, hello, my name is Emma, and today I'm going to be giving you guys my book haul for this past Book Expo of 2018. If you're unaware, Book Expo is an annual book industry event where you get to go and you get advanced reader copies and upcoming new releases, and then Bookcon is the following 2 days, and it's just always so exciting. It's my favorite time of year, and I had another really amazing time. If you follow me on social media, you probably know that I unfortunately got really sick during the week of Book Expo. Like my one favorite week of the year, I got really ill, so I was only able to go to Book Expo for one day and Bookcon for the other day, but nonetheless, it was still an amazing 2 days. I had so much fun hanging out with my friends and meeting some of you guys, so thank you so much to anyone who came up to say hi to me. But for today, I'm going to be showing you guys my haul for this year's Book Expo. The first book I got is The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, which comes out this September. In this book, there is a woman named Evelyn Hardcastle who is murdered every single night, and so our main character, whose name is Aiden, has to find out who the killer is. But to make things more difficult, every day Aiden wakes up in the body of a different person at this gala where Evelyn is murdered, and so the only way to escape is to identify her killer. I feel like this is a really hard book to define. It obviously has this sort of murder mystery angle, but it also sort of sounds supernatural, though I'm not sure if that's truly the case. But nonetheless, this sounds like a really intriguing story, and I definitely plan on picking up this one soon. Based on my past years at Book Expo, I really wanted this year to be a smaller haul for me to only have books that I was really excited for, because every year I pick up so many books just because they sound intriguing at the moment and I never get to them. But luckily this year I only have like 2 impulse pickups, and this is one of them. But it is from an author I've read from in the past, and one I do think is very interesting, and that is The Death of Mrs Westaway by Ruth Ware. This is a final copy, which is not very frequent at Book Expo, so when Brandon the Book Addict came up and was like, I just met Ruth Ware and I got a final copy of her new book, I was caught up in the moment. Nonetheless, this book does sound very interesting. It follows a tarot card reader named Hal who has received a mysterious inheritance from her grandparents, but the puzzling part is that they died many years ago, but she's only receiving this now. But Hal has nothing to lose, so she travels to the estate of Mrs Westaway with the rest of her family in order to claim what they have inherited. But while she is there, some strange things seem to be happening, and it seems like things are darker than she originally anticipated. I have read The Woman in Cabin 10 from Ruth Ware, and while it was not my favorite thriller I've ever read, I am very interested in A Dark Wood, and I definitely feel like The Death of Mrs Westaway is something I would be really interested in. Next on this haul is a book I did not even know existed until I entered Book Expo, and that is Imposters by Scott Westerfeld, which comes out this September 11th. Apparently, this is the first in a new series set in the same world as the Ugly series. Now, I have not read the Ugly series, but I have been talking about it for a very long time because I think it's something I would be really interested by, and all of a sudden, we have this new book coming out in the same world. Imposters follows 2 twins named Frey and Rafi, but Frey's existence is kept a secret as she acts as a body double for her sister because her father is a very powerful man who has a lot of dangerous enemies. So Frey, who is the protector with the ability to kill, is sent to replace her sister, who is the charming perfect daughter, on a deal that her father is attempting to seal. But things get more difficult when the deal is about to crumble and Frey's secret might be found out. I don't know for sure, but it does sound like Imposters and Uglies can be read separately, so I feel like I'm ready to pick up either of them. It's just a matter of like when I will get to it, but I'm definitely intrigued by Imposters, and I know many fans of the Ugly series out there will be very excited to hear that there's a new series coming out. Next book on this haul is City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab, which comes out on August 28th. I am a huge fan of Victoria Schwab. I've been reading her books for years, and I'm super excited to dive into her newest and first middle grade release. So our main character's name is Cassie, and since she drowned, she's had the ability to pull back the veil, which is the place that separates the human world and the spirit world. As her parents are hosting a television show about the world's most haunted places, her family travels to Edinburgh in order to examine some of the cemeteries and ancient places there that hold spirits long gone. But while she's there, Cass meets a girl who has the same gift as her, and she realizes she has a lot to learn about the veil and what dangers it holds. I'm really freaking excited for City of Goats. I am just a sucker for some supernatural, paranormal fiction, and it definitely sounds like a book I'm going to love. It's very up Victoria Schwab's alley, and I know I'm going to love it. Next book on this haul is Dry by Neil Shusterman and his son Jared Shusterman. Neil Shusterman's newest release comes out this October, and I am so excited for it. I did not know any books going into Book Expo. I had no idea what books and authors were going to be there, but Neil Shusterman has very quickly become one of my new favorite authors, and I'm so excited for his next release. I actually got to meet Neil and Jared at a signing they had at Book Expo, and it was just so amazing to tell Neil Shusterman how much I love him and his books, and how just amazing he is. So if I'm correct, I believe Dry is a new dystopian story about what happens when the California drought turns the city completely dry. Our main character's name is Alyssa, and it just basically follows her struggle for survival, how things turn desperate when there is no more water, what happens to her and her family who are apparently being threatened, and it just sounds so amazing. Earlier this year, I read Scythe by Neil Shusterman, and it just blew my mind. Like, my standards for YA dystopian are so high now, and I would expect the same complexity and thought-provoking nature of his books to follow into Dry, and I really cannot wait to read it. My next book on this haul is my one other impulse pickup for this convention. I think everyone is entitled to a few, but it is Never Contended Things by Sarah Porter. I'm not gonna lie to you, one of the things that drew me to this book is obviously not the cover, but the fact that it comes out in March 2019, so this is like a very early ARC release. If I'm being honest, I don't know a ton about this book. I know that Sarah Porter wrote Vasa in the Night, which is a book I really wanted to read but just haven't gotten to yet, and at the Owl Crate booth they actually had ARCs of her most upcoming release, so I was like, why not? What I do know about this book is that it follows fairies. We follow the Prince of Fairy, or maybe his name is Prince, I'm not really sure, but he basically encounters these two foster siblings and he's really drawn to them. He feels like he must possess them. And so we also follow Josh and Cassina, who are two siblings that become enchanted by the world of fairy, but they quickly realize that things are much darker and more cruel than they originally anticipated, and it just sounds really interesting. Now, I'm not personally one of those people who, like, if the back cover says fairy, I'm immediately going to read it, but I would say they're one of my favorite supernatural creatures to read about. But my favorite fairies to read about are the ones that are really dark and cruel, the ones who are morally corrupt and, like, embody all of the terrifyingness that we have associated with fairies for so many years. So it is definitely a fantasy novel I could see myself picking up in the future. The next book on this haul is The Last Life of Prince Alistair by Alexandra Bracken, which is the sequel to The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding, and it comes out this February. I read The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding last year, and it was just so much fun. It is like the perfect supernatural, paranormal, middle grade read, and I had the best time reading it. I'm not going to spoil the plot of the sequel, obviously, but if you haven't heard of The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding, it follows a boy named Prosper who finds out that he has a demon living inside of him. Essentially, one of Prosper's great-great-great-grandfathers had made a deal with a fiend but double-crossed him, so Alistair has awoken inside of Prosper and is hellbent on getting his revenge. It's just a fun, whimsical, entertaining read, and I'm really happy I have a copy of it so I can read it when the weather gets colder and it's fall and it's time for all the spooky reads. The next book on this haul was like the one book I wanted at Book Expo. I would have been fine with getting no other books if I got this one, and that is Wildcard by Marie Lu. This is the sequel to Warcross, and it comes out this September, and I am so excited for it. I got Warcross last year at Book Expo, and it was one of my favorite reads of last year. I'm so obsessed with it, and I just cannot wait to have my questions answered and to dive into this world a second time. Again, it's a sequel. I'm not going to spoil the synopsis for you, but Warcross takes place in this near-futuristic world where the entirety of society has been changed by virtual reality. And so along with that comes this game called Warcross, which is an international phenomenon. Everyone everywhere tunes in to watch the games, play it themselves, and hopefully become pro. Our main character's name is Amika, and she is a Chinese-American bounty hunter and hacker who accidentally glitches herself into the opening ceremony of the Warcross games for the entire world to see. Although Amika believes she is to be immediately executed because of this crime, she's actually flown out by the creator of Warcross to Tokyo in order to compete in the Warcross games. But her role as a Warcross player is just a cover, as she's actually being hired to delve deep into the world of Warcross and find out what is going on with some destructive activity that seems to be trying to bring down Warcross from within. I love Warcross so much. If you have not picked it up yet, you're in for a real treat, and I would highly recommend it because I know that Wildcard is going to be an absolutely amazing sequel. Although I do have a couple of more books to show you and some items I got at Book Expo, the last official Book Expo book I got was Odd One Out by Nick Stone, which comes out this October. I got to meet Nick Stone for the second time and she was just equally as amazing. She's just one of those people that's so kind to absolutely every single person she meets. But it was really cool to meet her after reading her debut novel, Dear Martin, as last year when I met her, I didn't have any idea who she was. And so I'm just really excited for her next book. Odd One Out basically follows three main characters. Our first is named Courtney, or Coop, and she is dealing with being dumped again. And normally she would go to one of her friends, Juniper, for support, but Juniper seems to be more invested in a new girl he's interested in than helping her. Our next main character's name is Ray, and she's the new girl in school who feels really lucky that Coop and Juniper have befriended her, but things get a little bit more complicated when she realizes she's attracted to both of them. And then finally we have Juniper, and I don't feel like I have a really great grasp on what his story is going to be about, but it says, the only thing worse than losing the girl you love to a boy is losing her to your boy. I have to make a move. So Odd One Out is the story of these three friends, but it follows the three very different perspectives and points of views of each of them. I was really impressed by Dear Martin. I love Nick Stone as a writer based off of her first book, and I'm really excited for Odd One Out, so if you haven't checked out her books yet, I would definitely recommend it. So the next set of books on this haul are actually from an event I went to hosted by The Novel, so thank you so much to The Novel for the invitation and for all of these amazing books. I have 2 physical books in my hands, and then I do have a couple of other books they are sending me because Novel was like, we know you're going to be carrying books all week long, we want to make it easier for you. So I don't have them in my hands right now, but they are coming, and they're books that I got at Book Expo that were at the convention, so I think it's appropriate to keep them in this haul. So the first book I got at the Novel Tea Party is Frostblood by Ellie Blake. Frostblood is a high fantasy story that follows a girl named Ruby who is a fireblood in a world of frostbloods. In this world, the Frostbloods are the ruling class, and so when Ruby's mother is killed in a raid, she teams up with some other rebels who would like to see the king out of power in order to get her revenge. But before Ruby can take action, she is kidnapped and forced into a tournament where they pit Fireblood prisoners against Frostblood champions, so Ruby has to fight for her life in order to take her revenge on the king who took everything away from her. And so the next book that I got at the Novelty is Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor, which is the sequel to Strange the Dreamer. So I have not yet read Strange the Dreamer because I am scared, I am terrified. The combination of Laini Taylor's beautiful lyrical writing with super high fantasy is just so daunting to me that I've been putting it off for so long. I don't know much about Strange the Dreamer, but I do know it follows a boy named Laszlo who has this dream of finding the lost city of Weep. So Laszlo has to seize his chance to find Weep or else lose his dreams forever, and it's just all about Laszlo finding out what happened in the lost city of Weep, who the Godslayer is, and what he slayed, and just all of the magical mysticalness of Strange the Dreamer. But after hearing Laini Taylor talk about Strange the Dreamer at the Novelty, after hearing all of my friends rave about Strange the Dreamer and how amazing it is, I do think I am going to give it a try soon. I'm thinking of listening to the audiobook because I know that my library does have it on overdrive and I've heard really great things about it, so hopefully I will read Strange the Dreamer soon and then dive into Muse of Nightmares because I've heard so many great things about this story and I really want to give it a chance. So the final 3 books in my haul, again, are not in my possession. They are coming in the mail from Novel, but I am so excited about all of them. The first is my other highly anticipated arc of the convention, and that is The Wicked King by Holly Black, which is the sequel to The Cruel Prince. This was another book that I was like, y'all can keep all the other books of the convention. I only care about Wildcard and The Cruel Prince. I read The Cruel Prince earlier this year and I really loved it, and since then I have been so excited for The Wicked King. If you don't know, The Cruel Prince follows a girl named Jude who was taken from her home along with her 2 sisters when she was a child and forced to live in the land of fairy. Now in this world, fairies despise mortals, so throughout her life, Jude and her sisters have experienced a lot of abuse from the fairies, but Jude really wants to become a knight of the court. But the opportunity presents itself where Jude is given a chance to spy for one of the king's sons in order to relay information and win her place in the court, and it is just a really amazing magical fantasy novel with a lot of political intrigue and complex character dynamics, and I really loved it, so I cannot wait for the second book. Now, if you watched my first vlog from last week, I mentioned this thing called editor speed dating at the novelty, where basically different editors and publicists and people who work at marketing in Little Brown went around to all the tables and basically pitched a bunch of upcoming books to us. And so these next two books were totally sold to me by their pitches. The synopses sound amazing and I can't wait for them. The first is Jack of Hearts and Other Parts by Lev A.C. Rosen, which comes out also this October. I was instantly sold on this book as it follows a gay teenager who runs a sex advice column. I don't need anything else than that. I was sold. Like a sex positive YA novel that follows a queer perspective. I was just like, this is the good shit. And while that pitch might sound like just like a fluffy contemporary story, it's also apparently a thriller, as the main character Jack is being stalked online by someone anonymously who's trying to force him back into the closet, and it sounds so good. I'm really excited for this book. It sounds super fun and very unique, not like many YA books out there, and I definitely feel like it's something not only myself but a lot of you guys would enjoy as well. And the final book on this book haul is actually called Dear Evan Hanson, and it is written by Val Emmett, coming out also this October. As the title may sound very familiar to a lot of you, it is a YA novel adaptation of the very famous musical. I know nothing about Evan Hansen. I haven't seen it. I haven't listened to the soundtrack. I literally did not even know what it was about until I attended this event, and it just sounded so much like a book I would love to read that I couldn't resist. The way it was pitched to me is it's about this boy named Evan Hansen who writes like supportive letters to himself, and one day a bully at school takes one of his letters away from him, and later that bully is found dead by suicide with Evan's note. And so to the bully's grieving family, it seems as if Evan was his only friend, as if the bully wrote this letter to Evan and he didn't write it to himself. And so apparently Evan just gets caught up in this string of lies as he is trying to please this grieving family and wants them to feel as if their son was well liked and a good person and whatnot. And that was enough for me. Again, there is a really good chance that synopsis is totally wrong, but that's just what I was getting from the description of the story, and it sounds really interesting. Like, it definitely sounds like a book I would read, and like I can't believe I didn't look into this musical sooner. So after hearing about this book, I'm definitely interested in reading it. I feel like I'm more inclined to listen to the musical, and I know there are so many Evan Hansen fans out there, and like, you should thank your lucky stars because now you got a YA book and it's just the best of both worlds. So to close out this video, I have some totes, some posters, and some other bookish merch that I got at Book Expo that I think you guys would like to see. The first is this tote from Novel that says booked all week with this pink stack of books on it. The next is from Goodreads. It basically just has the Goodreads logo with some colorful flowers on the side. And then the last tote is for an absolutely remarkable thing, which is Hank Green's novel that's coming out soon, and this is basically the cover of the book. As for posters, the first one I got is for the new Harry Potter covers that are being designed by Brian Selznick, who is an illustrator I have loved for like decades now. They have all of these different Harry Potter characters and scenes from the books, and I'm so ready to drop all my money on these new covers. I will not even regret it. The next poster was actually given to me by Kaylee from Kaylee Hyde, so thank you so much, Kaylee, for giving me this poster inspired by Renegades by Marissa Meyer, which is one of my new favorite books of the year. It basically just has all of the main characters of Renegades and all of their different superpowers, and I'm loving this series so much, and I cannot wait for book 2. I have 3 chapter samplers from this past convention. The first is for A Map of Days by Ransom Rigg, which is the 4th book in the Miss Peregrine series. The next is for Lady Smoke by Laura Sebastian, which is the sequel to Ash Princess, and I have to show you the back of this because the cover has the official book cover on it, which has not been announced yet. So these weren't actually like given out officially at Bookcon, but it was given to me by Laura, which is so sweet of her, and I'm so excited because you are just not ready for the beauty of this cover. And the last chapter sampler was given to me by Haley in Bookland because she knows that this is one of my favorite things in the entire world. So thank you so much, Haley, for giving giving me the Queen of Air and Darkness chapter sampler. Now, I know I'm a little biased when it comes to the Shadowhunter Chronicles, but like this is the nicest chapter sampler ever. It has that like soft matte feeling that actual books have. The text is embossed and it's bigger than normal chapter samplers, and it's the best thing ever, and I'm so excited to have this. Now, personally, I don't ever buy stuff at Book Expo. Everything I usually get there is free, but I did make my first ever Book Expo purchase, and I'm sure you can assume it is Shadowhunters related, but I bought these Shadowhunter fridge magnets. So essentially it comes with a bunch of different character names from all of these series, and then a bunch of different terms from the series, as well as just like general words to make sentences, and they're magnetic so you can put them on your fridge, and I'm so excited for these. In the An Absolutely Remarkable Thing tote bag, I got these stickers that are metallic, and I believe they are of the Carls, which is something to have to do with the book. I know nothing about An Absolutely Remarkable Thing, but I'm really excited for it. I got this Goodreads bookmark, which has the same pattern that is on the tote bag. Also from Goodreads, I got this little sticker of their logo. I have no idea where I got this sticker from, but it says, "Life is a book, and there are 1,000 pages I have not read yet." I got this temporary tattoo from the Children of Blood and Bone series. Then I got some stickers from the Owl Crate booth. This one says, "I survived the Owl Crate line." This one says, "Night Owl." This one says, "I'm basically a thesaurus." And this one says, "Read a book, have a nice day." And then the final item I got at Book Expo is this Shadowhunters pop socket that was a gift from Michael from Michael Book Line. Alrighty, well that concludes my haul from this year's Book Expo. Again, I had such an amazing time. I got so many amazing books, I got to meet so many amazing people, and I got to hang out with my amazing friends. And it was just a really, really great event. Definitely let me know in the comments below if there were any books in this haul that you're particularly excited for, or if there were any ones that were new to you that you are now excited about knowing they exist. But that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon for a new video. Bye!